Hello everybody, we're going to now do an exercise called side leg lift. It is another exercise that works our hip abductor muscles, one of those muscles on our glutes, and it follows on from the clam exercise. So having a lie down on your side, just thinking about your neck and how you like to lie, that feels comfortable, and if you've discovered you need that little pad underneath the hip to create some softness. So popping yourself down. And this time we start by lying nice and long. So you can obviously just have your head on the pillow. This is a bit low for me because I prefer to lie like this, but just make sure you're comfortable. So lying nice and long, we're going to just rock our pelvis forwards and backwards, and once again find that center position. If you feel that you're quite wobbly, just use that crab hand that we talked about. While you watch me do the exercise, you can always just bend the knee. So from here, I will lift my hand up. I'm going to just lift that leg up to the ceiling, and I'm going to lower it down. I'm going to lift the leg up to the ceiling and just have a look at my waist. Just noticing how still I can be with my waist. And down. Okay. So off we go. From here, we're lying nice and straight, one leg on top of the other, just found your center, and a lot of you will just use that little crab claw hand just to give you some support. Really making sure we're still long through that waist as if we've got that Malteser. We want to again touch the top of our hip and just be aware that the exercise wants to work this bottom muscle. And like the clam, we're trying to avoid lots of strong sensation in our leg. So we'll go through the exercise first of all, and then we'll practice a couple of modifications and then do a nice little series. So my hand will be up, but your hand can be here or you can feel the muscle. So imagining you're lengthening from the waist. You're going to visualize a piece of string just pulling that leg gently away. You're going to lift it just up to your hip height or slightly beyond, keeping your waist really long, and we're going to lower down. Visualizing that wall behind you, trying not to rock too far forwards or too far back, just up and down. We're going to do one more, and then we'll add a few slight variations to help some of you find that muscle a bit more. And down. Well done. Now if this is strong, maybe that you need to do quite a few before you start to feel this fatigue. Some of you may notice that the rest of your leg is trying to help. Commonly it's actually our thigh muscle. Pop your hand on your bottom, just drop it past the hip, and just see if everyone can notice it tightening and relaxing, tightening and relaxing. So that's the first thing to do, just to check if we are activating the right area. If you really can't feel it, we're going to do a couple of things. Using a little support, I'd like you to just gently tip forwards a bit. So I'm not falling onto my stomach. I'm once again not twisting. I'm staying really straight, and I'm just doing a little tip forwards. And once again, this just kind of puts my bottom muscle at a bit of an advantage to start to work. So with this tip forwards, I want you just to try a couple of lifts and just see with that tip forwards if it helps find that bottom muscle. Come back straight and just compare. One of the common mistakes is that people often fall backwards. So why don't you have a go at that? Just fall backwards, see what happens. And you'll feel it quite strongly through your thigh. Don't do it too much, but it's worth having a check. Just have a rest. And then in a second, just practice that again. Just a slight tip forwards Just letting that leg lift up, come back straight. And is there one position that helps activate that bottom muscle a bit more? The next thing I want you to check is that when you're lifting the leg up, it is in line with your body. Now, a lot of people feel that straight is here and they're lifting up and down like this. And if you're not sure, you can look in a mirror, you can do your own video call to yourself, you can even get someone to film you. So just make sure that when you're lifting up, if you peek down, I can just about see my toes. And as I lift up, again, I can just about see my toes. If I see my thigh, that means my leg isn't as aligned with my body. And again, it can mean that my thigh muscle wants to take part too much. Okay. So let's have a go. So find that optimum position for yourself. Tip forwards, in line. Just making sure you're nice and straight, long through the waist. And let's just have a couple of other goes. Just lengthening through the leg, lifting up and down. Once more, and then we're going to have another rest. The leg maybe getting a bit tired, or hopefully it's your bottom, and then stop. If you're still feeling that this is just not achievable, we're going to go through one more modification, and that's to do with our knee and our kind of leg position. Some people find that they lock the knee quite strongly, and when they lock their knee, it creates lots of activity through the thigh. If you are happy, if you can definitely feel a little bit of activation there, you can have a go with this if you want, or you can just carry on with the level that you found appropriate. So we'll start here, both legs straight. Just be aware that your top leg is really straight and maybe your knee is locked. Tipping forwards if you want, or coming straight. Just lift the leg up and down. Keeping long through the waist, only lifting as high as you can before there's any hinging. Now, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is slightly soften the knee. So I'm not bending it and lifting like this, that's a different exercise. So your leg is straight, but there's just a little bit of softness through the knee. As you lift, really imagine it's the bottom muscles that are lifting, not the leg. You're not saying to your knee, lift up and down. So maybe even touch those muscles. Imagine these muscles are helping you lift up and helping you lift down. With a lovely straight lengthened leg from the hip, but slight softness in the knee. Once more, and relax. Well done. Give that bottom a bit of a pat. So while you have a rest, I'll go through those variations. The first is actually just lying in this straight neutral position, long waist, crab hands, and trying not to bend through our waist. We just lift the leg up, maybe only as high as hip level, just a little bit higher when we lower down. The second modification, maybe a bit of a tip forwards, still staying really straight, up and down. And the final modification is, for some of you, just creating a little bit of softness in that knee. It's not bent, but we're making sure it's not locked. Lifting up and down. Now, from here, you hopefully will feel a little bit of fatigue through that bottom muscle, nothing in the rest of the leg. And really importantly, we're not bringing our legs in front and really kind of seeing our leg as we lift. See a lot of people in exercises classes doing that. Final other thing that you can do, some of you, if you do feel that underneath hip is actually quite tender despite the pad, just bend that knee a bit. The only problem, just have a look at what happens as I bend this knee, it can feel more comfortable in my hip. My top leg drops down quite a lot. That means I have to work a lot harder to lift that leg. So unless there is real discomfort, start with both legs together. So once again, we're going to have a go up to 10. If by now you're really tired, just have a rest and come back to this at another point. We'll just practice the movement, then engage our core, and then pop it together with our breath work. So from here, we're going to find the position where you feel the most activation in this muscle with the least awareness in the leg. And we're going to just lift up and down. Depending on your flexibility, your leg may naturally reach higher before your waist moves, or it may not reach as high as mine. So that's 3. Let's see if we can engage our core. And at any point, you may want to micro adjust. Maybe you want to tip forwards. Just keep trying to engage that core. Maybe you want to just peek down and check that you can't see your leg. Maybe you want to play with softening the knee. Now breathing in to engage, breathing out, lift up. Breathing in, coming down. Breathing out. And can you see how my foot is facing forwards, if not slightly up to the ceiling? We're just making sure that we're not really rolling in and down. Last couple, breathing out and in, breathing out and in. And well done. Give that a little pat. So we're going to go over onto the other side. Once again, remembering that this could be a slightly weaker side, so you want to be really respectful of that. So just getting yourself set up again, and we'll go through that all from here. So lying nice and straight to start off with. Let's just do a couple using crab hands if you need. Just up and down. Up and down. Feeling into the bottom if you want, just to be aware of any activity. Noticing if there's awareness in the leg. Let's go into our first variation. That slight tip forward. So most of you may need to have support as you do this, depending on your core control. And we're going to just lift up. Notice if that creates a change. Notice if it takes it out of your leg. And just kind of gives you a tiny bit more awareness in your bottom. Then come back to that mid position. And again, up and down. Remembering some of you won't notice much going on here till you get tired. But if you're feeling it in your leg, that tells us that we need to work on our position. Okay. Staying long through the waist at all times and watching that that leg isn't coming forwards. So from here, our last variation is thinking about that knee. So let's start off with the length from the hip, lengthening from the hip, but that knee is locked. We're going to just lift up and down, up and down. More. And then what happens if we're still keeping that lovely long length? There's a tiny bit of softness to our knee. See if that helps. And then what happens if you keep that position slightly tipped forwards, or if you come back to centre? Just have a little play. Maybe tipping forwards again. Good. And just checking that foot. Does it feel like it's really trying to face the floor? Is the toe facing forwards? Is it up to the ceiling? Just being aware of having the foot facing forwards, maybe slightly up to the ceiling. We're trying to avoid a foot that really rolls in and down. Okay, have a rest. Give that bottom a bit of a pat. And again, we're going to come and do a few in a row. Lying nice and long through the waist, making sure we're centered. Towel underneath here, or a little visual Malteser. Just practice just allowing that leg to come up only as far as you can do comfortably, and down. Up, maybe feeling the bottom just to see what's happening. Micro adjusting as you need, maybe playing with those little tips of tipping forwards a bit. softening the knee as you need. And then as you can, see if you can engage your core for a little bit. You switch on that inner muscle. How does that feel? If it lets go, can you switch it on again? And let's go to breath work. So we're going to breathe in to engage. We're going to breathe out. We're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe out. We're going to breathe in. Well done. Couple more. We're going to breathe in to engage. We're going to breathe out, keeping that core engaged. We're going to breathe in. We're going to breathe in to engage. We're going to breathe out, keep that core engaged, and we're going to breathe in. Well done. Give that bottom a pat. I'm going to go through another way to stretch our glutes. If this feels uncomfortable at all, there was a variation in the clam video, and I'd like you to go through that. So from here, we're going to just bend this knee. We're going to, if comfortable, just cross it over our other leg. We're going to take this hand, rest this hand behind me, and I'm going to gently turn with my back. I'm going to take this elbow and just lock it in, and then I'm going to gently push and gently feel a stretch in my bottom. Breathing in and out. Now the stretch should feel very gentle. Try and lengthen through your body as you stretch. If this is uncomfortable, please do the other variation lying on your back. One more breath in and out. Okay, and then relaxing. I'm going to either bend my knee here or I'm going to cross it over. I'm going to think about growing tall. I'm going to take this hand. I'm going to pop it just comfortably behind me, twist my body, take this arm and this elbow, put it behind that knee, and I'm just gently going to twist a bit further and push. I'm going to breathe in and out, trying to grow tall as I do this, stretching comfortably, breathing in and out, in and out. And well done.